Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S world. I am Clea, and today I will be sharing with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension. And this is from my last hypnosis session. In this case, the hypnotist was Lorraine, because I'm giving Carolyn a little break. I think she deserves it, but I've already scheduled another session with her, so she'll be back in the fray of things very soon. Before we move forward, I would like to ask you to please give a thumbs up to this video and leave me a comment, because I love to hear where you guys are at, and if you do find the stuff value adding and if it resonates with you in any way. Also, please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. That really does help me put out more videos. So let's jump in. I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you today. Okay, Lorraine. You told us that the dark has been trying to change time here on this planet, which is not possible. However, there are internet channelers who say that the timeline of what's going to happen with humanity keeps changing, and that it's often impossible to predict what's going to happen in the future because the timelines are changing based on what we do as a collective, whether people wake up or not. But you've told us that the timeline for this planet is set and that it doesn't matter what people do. So is this true? Is it true that humans can change their own timeline or that of the planet? Me. Humans can change their own timeline. And what it means is there is no time. So you're not really changing your timeline. What you're doing is you're choosing what experience to have next. So if that's what we consider our timeline, yes. If I decide that I'm going to have an experience of going to be a tree now for what I consider to be 300 years, then I can change my timeline. I was going to go have an experience that would take me an hour, but I can't do that anymore because I got to go do the 300-year one, or the one that feels like 300 years on this side. It's all experiences. We isolate them. So we think this isolation, this slowing down, converts into a certain amount of time that it takes. But obviously, that's not the case. It's just a different experience. So in that sense, you can change what we call change your own timeline, meaning you just change your focus, what you want to focus on, and what you want to experiment with for a certain amount of time. We cannot change the timeline for this planet. The timeline for this planet has been set. The reason these people are saying it's hard to predict timelines is because they're trying to predict things. They're not really the timeline for the planet. They're trying to do intel work. And intel work, there is so much going on behind the scenes that they're not able to see all of it. And because of this, they're trying to predict events, and again, quote unquote, timelines for events that can change all the time, because we're not interested, perhaps as a collective or as a group of people that was going to manifest a particular event. We're not interested in that event anymore. So all of a sudden, we're looking at something else. These things are fluid because, again, they depend on the choice of the essence. The essence is no longer, and they were laughing here, to give an example, the memes. Oh, there have been some funny memes that Clea has seen where everybody was betting money that after co and vid, sorry guys, I'm not saying the full word because they're listening to us. YouTube is listening. Excuse me. So Clea has seen memes where everybody was betting money that after co and vid, there would be the fake alien attack. And all of a sudden they said, we have the fake World War III. So is that a timeline that has changed? No, it's whatever. It's whatever experience the dark wanted to do. This one thing, people are latching on. Still people, believe it or not, to this day, latching on to the idea that there is a war. It sounds so dire. People are so excited that World War III sounds so fun. I know that people don't think of it that way, but that's really what it is. Why else would you be attracted to it? Why would you even watch it if you didn't think it was fun? Perhaps it is fun for you to feel like, oh, you're here all safe and look what's happening. And the proof of this is the fact that we do watch war movies, don't we? You must find something fun in them. Maybe it is the fact that it makes you feel like we're kicking the butt of the dark and the bad guys, whoever the bad guy is, you know, forgetting that this is all us. So I know some people might have an issue with me saying that there are people who find war fun, but unfortunately, this is exactly the case. And so is that a timeline? That's not really a timeline. It's just an experience. All of a sudden, we've been given this idea that we can focus on an idea of war. And a lot of people are attracted to this. This is not changing anything for the planet. The planet is going to come down as planned. Even when we talk about the fact that the timeline for the planet has accelerated, what we are talking about is the fact that the experience of 12,000 is becoming, their energy is becoming so much quicker that everything, the work that needs to be done, is not a matter of time, it's a matter of work that needs to be done, has been compressed, meaning that it is being done faster. Because of this, the timeline is shrinking, but it's not a matter of time. Time just happens to be the time by when, or the point at which we're going to be done with all our chores, if you want to call it that, with all our duties. I made a note here because I'm trying to wrap my mind around this concept of time. As you know, the 25th has told us over and over again that time is not real. I think a lot of us feel this. I've felt this even before the 25th told us. So this is a note I made that I want to share with you. So this concept of time not being real is truly hard to grasp for us in 3D. But the more they talk about it, the more it seems to me that it's just a unit of measurement. It's not actually real, as in it is the distance between here and there, how we account for how long an experience is going to be or it's going to take, as opposed to being its own reality. The way we like to think of it here is that we have, say, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, and we can fill that time with 1 chore, 10 chores, or 100 chores. But it seems to be the opposite. We do 1 chore and say that 1 hour has gone by. We do 10 chores and say that a week has gone by, and so on. Hopefully this doesn't muddy things up even more. In fact, if you guys have a better explanation for this, I would love to hear it. But the way that I am kind of coming to terms with how to think of this in my own mind is that we as usual, we have put the cart before the horse. So we have reversed how things actually work here. And time does seem to be just something that we assume exists because we see changes, for example, or physical changes. But really, it's just a different reality. It's a different idea we picked up. We have decided that we see other people looking older, that we're also going to look older. And we're going to look older because that's a thing to do and because time has gone by, whereas it's not true. In fact, and I'm not just saying this from the 25th dimensional perspective, but if you listen to a lot of holistic doctors or researchers, I'm thinking of a friend of mine who just happened to mention this in a recent video, actually, aging has nothing to do with time. Aging is a disease. It's basically has to do with certain things happening in your body. And these things do not happen because of time, because as you well know, everybody ages differently. So it has nothing to do with time. It's not an absolute. So again, if anybody has any input on this or has a different way of thinking about it, I would love to hear how you're dealing with this concept of time not being real. Okay, Lorraine, thank you. Thank you for that. Is it true that the dark has polluted the atmosphere of this planet so much? And if it weren't for good aliens cleaning out our atmosphere behind the scenes, that we would already be dead? And she's referring with the question, I prepared this question because I'd actually read something about this, that supposedly the pollution is so bad we would have been all extinct a long time ago if the aliens weren't actually cleaning the atmosphere in the background. Me. No, this is more of the stuff we're told to make us feel like if we didn't have outside help, we would already all be dead. This is part of the infiltration that we were referring to. Lorraine, thank you. Many speak about solstices, equinoxes being a big deal because energies increase around those days and positive timelines emerge. And that's why global meditations are often set up on those days. Lionsgate, August 8th every year, is considered to be a powerful portal. Is this true? Me. So, can the energy increase around certain times of the year? If everybody's focused on these events, expecting the energy to increase and even projecting a higher vibration, this is exactly what will happen. So is it true that the energy, the vibration gets lighter certain times of the year? Yes, but the energy gets lighter because we want that to be lighter. So we focus on lighter. You know, maybe we do lighter vibration or higher vibration activities like meditating. Not only, as we said, there are times when you are in a certain alignment with the central sun. But again, until the matrix was in place fully, we were shielded from that. So really it wasn't the case. At the end of the day, this is something that is an idea that's been introduced. It's been introduced by the light, and that has attracted the attention of a lot of people, especially on the side of the light. So they work with that, and it helps us too. It helps us to align. It helps us to believe certain things, to feel like the vibration is increasing. But no, it's not really, it doesn't really work as advertised. It's not something that just happens and we happen to be catching it. We are the ones who are, because we want to experience it this way. This is why we experience it this way. This is why it shows up this way for us. There are people, let me put it this way. There are people who have never heard of equinox or solstice, or people who have no idea that you're supposed to have a higher vibration. It's just like astrology, right? People have no idea about these things. Nothing changes in their life. On that day, nothing changes. Lorraine. Yes, that's true. Thank you. Okay. There are many people that are starting to speak light languages or saying that they speak light language. What is light language? Where is it coming from? And where are these people doing or connecting to when they speak it? Me. So this is part of seeking. Every essence knows that there is something coming. We all know this now, and we've all made our choice. And in order to align, a lot of these people have found this way of connecting. They are connecting. It's really always their higher self, not only allowing this, but also bringing it through in a way that is acceptable to them. You have to understand, a lot of people don't find the light language acceptable. It's just like another idea, right? For some people, it's acceptable. For some others, they will never be caught dead speaking light language. And they were laughing here. It's just something that is available. And for these people, it makes them feel like they're connecting to source. And really, where are they getting through it? They're getting the guidance their higher self is trying to pass to them. We already said this. The higher self is always passing guidance to you in your dreams. But that's too easy, right? We don't want to think it's that easy. So all of a sudden, we wake up one morning and we speak light language. So it's just a way of connecting to your higher self and letting that come through in a way that you would accept, in a way that is acceptable to you, which doesn't mean it's going to be acceptable or it's going to be acceptable to anyone else to have it come through that way. For example, for Clea, an acceptable way to have this come through was hypnosis, because it sounds very scientific. Whereas guess what? She's had these messages forever. They've always been coming to her, but she needed it to happen in a very scientific and 3D way because she wasn't ready to embrace the powers that she's always had. And she's aware of always having had. We all connect when it's time to connect in a way that we find more comfortable and more acceptable. And I have to tell you guys, and I think that's why they use me as an example, because that way a concept becomes very clear to me so I can clarify for you guys as well. It is so true. Not only, and I mentioned this before, not only I've always been very psychic, and when I was young, I was very aware of it, and that's why I shut down all my gifts because I didn't want to deal with them. But I've been getting these messages for years and years and years. That's why a lot of the stuff resonates with me, because this has been the way that I've been thinking about 3D. There are people that make fun of me. I've always said, I'm like a broken record, the time is not real. And all of a sudden we hear all of this. I'm like, see, I wasn't crazy. But the reason we do somehow, despite how focused we are on these higher dimensional concepts, we still have to live in a 3D reality, and all of us have ways of coping with that. Okay, for me, for example, I very much have an image of myself or the place, the role that I want to play in this 3D reality, where certain things look very odd, or some things look less odd than others, so I'll do the things that look less odd to me. I am perfectly aware. I've told you this before, if you watch any of my previous videos, I can connect on my own. I don't need to have these hypnosis sessions. After the first one, I already didn't need to anymore. I will ask a question without even meaning to, without even realizing I'm asking a question, I'll get an answer. I can get an answer in real time. In Oroli, if I meditate, forget it. It's just like an hypnosis session. I can ask questions. I can close my eyes, get the answer, and then open my eyes, write it down or speak it out and go back into trance or a deep meditation immediately. So what I'm trying to say that I am learning for myself is that we do block ourselves a lot. That's why I keep saying, trust your connection is there. It's just that we feel comfortable sometimes doubting it or assuming that we're not getting all the guidance. Also because it is very hard when you get the guidance. Let me tell you, I'm going through a lot of stuff right now because I'm like, okay, what am I going to do here? Like, when is this happening? I'm at this point, it's not even worth doing anything else in 3D. I might as well go. When are we going? And it makes it very hard to be here. So that's why we do these things. We're not crazy. And it's not that we don't want to see. So anytime you have these doubts about yourself, or you feel like, I don't know, you're bored or you're disappointed, just hang in there, because everything is going according to plan. And we are doing this to, in a way, protect ourselves, because we do have a lot going on. So always be very kind to yourself. I think that's the safest thing to do. No matter whether you believe these things or not, just be kind to yourself, okay? All right, so let's continue. Lorraine, yes, thank you. Is it true that reptilians need loosh to nourish themselves? Is it true that they want to pollute the planet so that the atmosphere becomes more comfortable for themselves? And if you haven't heard this word before, loosh basically is what a lot of New Age spirituality gurus talk about, saying that is the name of the energy that reptilians feed on, okay, how they nourish themselves. Basically, the idea is that they don't need nourishment like us. They don't need to eat. And what they do is they thrive on this loosh, which is negative energy, okay? So it's the energy of pain and anything that we would consider, unpleasant. So here's the answer from the 25th. No. So yes and no, meaning that, so all of us need energy, and it is not that we need it, we are energy, and therefore we thrive on energy, okay? We don't even know what lack of energy would be. Lack of energy because we don't have death. Like lack of energy would be the end of existence. So in that sense, they need loosh, in the sense that they need energy. Now, do they prefer lower vibrational energy in certain dimensions? Yes. In general, no. Because remember, they are the dark team. And the dark team is just as high dimensional as the light team. We like to think that they are less, that they are lower. They are not. But at certain levels, for example, I was told that the 25th, let me know that they screwed up at the 5th dimensional level. They told us before they screwed up at the 5th dimensional level of consciousness, because at the 5th dimensional level, they thought that they had to produce this lower vibrational energy. So they had to do whatever they could to produce this. So in that way, we are told that we're led to believe that they need this to survive, but they don't. They're just like us. And so it's not like they just live of energy, just like we have chosen not to live on energy. I think the misunderstanding is what Clea has heard before, is that they only need loosh, and they actually eat children or eat people just to hurt us, to create this loosh. But that is actually not correct. They do need to eat, which doesn't mean they need to eat children, but they do need to eat. They're just like us. They are not high dimensional enough not to eat food. They're not high dimensional enough to not need food. It's just like a lot of lighter planets eat food, even though they may not eat animals or living beings. but they still eat food, even though, you know, leaves are living beings. But so in that sense, no. There's a lot of lore. There's a lot of stories around the reptilians, but a lot of it is not true. And no, they have not tried to pollute this planet because it's more comfortable to them. It might be, you know, it might be that it allows them to lower. They think it's going to lower the vibration of the planet or our vibration by depriving us of fresh air. Again, it's all the twists in the game that the dark has been putting in. And they've done so much of this. They can't even keep track of it. So it's all, you know, they thought, let me put it this way. They thought they were doing things when they really weren't, or really didn't have the effect they thought it would have. And this is one of those things. Their end goal was not to turn this planet into a different atmosphere. While they might think, you know, some of them might think that's what they're doing, they can't do it. Gaia would never let it happen. This planet was created for humans. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below to let me know if it resonates with you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.